Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Drunken Sophistry, the most drunken, the most sophisticated sophistry on the internet. Today we're going to talk about my boy Donald Trump. Now listen, I know. Donald Trump has been a polarizing figure. You either love him or you hate him. Believe me, I get it. Nobody thinks of Donald Trump and thinks, you know what, I just have not that much of an opinion of Donald Trump. No. We all think either, man, Donald Trump is going to save Western civilization, or we think, man, this guy's going to be the next Adolf motherfucking Hitler. I get it. I feel you. Now look, a lot of people on one side, they're going to say, hey, wait a minute. The people on the other side, they're so wrong, they're so dumb, they're so blah, 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 blah. And they're going to argue back and forth about my man Donald Trump. All right? People love him, people hate him. But the people who love him are going to bicker with the people who hate him. They're going to argue, whatever. Now, personally, I got to say, I don't normally get involved with this kind of thing, but I got to say, honestly, to be truthful to you, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to my fans. I love me some Donald Trump. I love him. I think he's fucking great. I think I'm going to make America great again with Donald Trump. Now, I'm just saying, now I don't want to alienate any people who might be hating Donald Trump. I get it, believe me. I'm not saying that just because I love Donald Trump means that the people who hate Donald Trump are wrong. No, I understand where you're coming from. Honestly speaking, even though I do believe the mainstream media is biased towards the left, I still understand how a rational-minded person with leftist leanings could be a little hesitant at supporting Donald Trump and could see him as a dictatorial type of person. I get it, believe me, I get it. Hey, look, I just wanted to say, as someone who loves Donald Trump, I'm not closed-minded, I'm not bigoted, I just like the guy, I think he's great, I think he's going to make America great again. Now, the left is going to say, oh, but he hates Muslims. And I got to say this, I got to have some real talk with you right now. If you're the kind of person who says, wait a minute, Donald Trump, he hates Muslims, let's have some real talk right now. Alright, now look, Muslims, okay? Now, I don't have anything wrong with anyone believing in anything they want to believe in. Personally, I'm not too much of a religious person. My life has been too tragic for me to really believe there's a God. But listen, I don't care if you believe there's a God. I don't care if you believe it's Allah. I don't care if you believe it's Vishnu. I don't care if you believe it's motherfucking Santa Claus giving presents to little kids on their Christmas. Whatever you believe in is fine. That's what freedom of religion is all about. We're free to be who we want to be. And that's fucking great. And it's fucking beautiful. And I love seeing all the voices of harmony in the world all praising their own gods and getting along. It's fucking great, man. It's beautiful. And going along with that, I love the cultural traditions. I love the religious practices. Religion is a beautiful thing when done right. But that said, here comes the caveat. Here comes the part the liberals hate. But listen. If you're an intellectual person, liberal, conservative, whatever. If you're an intellectual person, then consider what I've got to say. Because what I've got to say, maybe, just maybe, there might be some truth to it. In the Muslim faith, and uniquely in the Muslim faith at this point in time, there are extremist elements that are blowing people up, that are stabbing and shooting and running people over in numbers that we don't see in any other religion or political ideology. Now, you can look at that and say, wow, that's pretty damn scary. And you know what? It kind of is. Because at this point, if you have hundreds of people fucking dying in Paris and Orlando and Germany all over the place, that's a real problem. That's a problem you can look at and say, let's try to solve that problem. And if you're trying to solve that problem, you can't just ignore the roots of the problem, which is a fundamentalist radical version of Islam. Let's be real. Let's be honest. None of this politically correct bullshit. That's the great thing about being drunk. You don't care about bullshit. Let's just be real and let's be fair. Islam, for whatever reason, in this day and age, has a certain fundamental aspect of it that's just convincing people to go around and fucking do brutal, horrible things. Now, it doesn't make you bigoted to want to solve that problem. In fact, it makes you a good person to want to solve that problem, because you're going to be thinking, okay, how can we stop fundamentalist, radical, jihadist Muslims from going around and killing people in atrocious ways? That's not a bigoted thing to ask. That is a moral and righteous thing to ask. Now, Donald Trump, I know at one point in time he suggested banning all Muslims, and I gotta say, I think he was overreaching a bit with that. I think he should stay Muslims from countries with a history of terrorism, and since then he has walked it back and he has said that. So I think that's a fair point of view. Now, you gotta keep in mind, restricting immigration from everyone who's Muslim doesn't mean that you hate all Muslims. It just means that you acknowledge the fact that the threat is coming from within the Muslim community, and you don't have a way to properly vet the extremists from the non-extremists. But that's life. The difficulty of not being able to vet extremists from non-extremists is just fundamental to the fact that people have the ability to lie and cover up their extremism. The fact is, you can end 99% of terrorism by focusing on the Muslim community. Now, that might not be a nice fact. You might not, want that to be the case. You might want to live in a world where everyone commits terrorism equally, but that's simply not the world we live in. And if you look at the empirical evidence, you can see that not all Muslims are terrorists, but almost all terrorists are Muslims. So to ignore the religious element is to dangerously neglect the underlying causes of this global jihadism that we're seeing that's on the rise. And if you really want to combat the problem, you have to be real, and you have to be honest, and you have to be compassionate, but more importantly, you have to be strong about the religious component of this problem. Now, I gotta say, it's one thing to criticize, but can you really offer a solution? Yeah, actually, I think I have a decent solution. And I'm not saying like I'm such a smart guy. I'm just saying, to me, it seems obvious. If you want to beat the war on radical Islam, you have to bring Muslims down to the same level as everyone else in our society. In other words, none of this bullshit about not being able to make fun of Muhammad, okay? How many times has Family Guy made fun of Jesus? Many times. How many times have they made fun of Muhammad? Not so much. Because people are afraid to make fun of Muhammad. Because they know that if they make fun of Muhammad, they might get fucking killed. And that's a problem. In our free and open society, the fact that people are afraid to criticize a religious prophet is a problem. So I think if you want to stop fundamentalist Islam, one way of at least contributing to sort of taking the tensions and taking the power out of their cause is to make fun of their religion. Okay? Because any religion that can gracefully be made fun of, is a decent religion. Christianity, for instance. People make fun of Christianity, and what do Christians do? They don't fucking behead people. They just laugh it off, or they turn the cheek, or whatever. Same with Jews. Fucking everyone makes fun of Jews 24/7 non-stop. You don't see Jews blowing up little kids. And Hindus, Buddhists, I mean, come on. But Islam, people are afraid to make fun of Islam. So I think what we need is more drawings of Muhammad, more making fun of Islam, more laughing at the idea of 72 virgins for committing fucking atrocities. Make fun of this goddamn ideology. Just make fun of it, ridicule it, put it in its place where it belongs as a barbaric 7th century or whatever century ideology. I mean, look. We don't have to go oppressing people. We don't have to be unfair. We don't have to be demagogues. We don't have to be all these evil things that the left is telling us to be. But if we fundamentally acknowledge that global jihadism is a function of radical Islam, and we look for solutions, therefore, that are tied to radical Islam, the fair, the just, and the reasonable thing to do is just to make fun of Islam and its radical and fundamentalist interpretations. And you know what? I think if you do that, then the peace-loving, the Western democracy, the Western civilization-loving Muslims will think, you know what? I can get on board with this, because even though they're making fun of my religion, they're helping to reform it. They're helping to galvanize and to catalyze that reformation that Islam so desperately needs, that reformation that Christianity went through hundreds of years ago, and that Islam still has yet to go through. And I think that the greatest injustice of our time is not sticking up for the reformationists within Islam, the people who want to reform the religion, the people who are suffering at the hands of radical Islamic fundamentalism. These are the people that we are doing a great disservice when we turn our heads and say that jihadism and terrorism has nothing to do with Islam. These are the people within Islam who say there is a fundamental problem in this religion, let's fix it. These Muslims, the reformists, the ones who dare to speak out and criticize their religion with the threat of beheading, these people are fucking amazing. We need to be supporting them, and you know what? If we criticize Islam, we are not going to breed terrorists, as the left would have you think. We are only going to empower the people within the religion of Islam who want to see reform and who want to make the world a better place by making their religion more compatible with the ideals of Western civilization, namely life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you for listening, and as always, you are a beautiful, beautiful human being, and you're amazing.